for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to Lafleur. Oh!
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the spot!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Stanley pour les Canadiens, le 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs! And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup!
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Vida TB. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
Marinaro, the Sick Podcast on this Friday, September 22nd. It is 10:01 p.m. The Sick Podcast brought to you in part by three major partners. Brewed in Quebec, a winner of a dozen international awards. These guys right over here, La Bitte TB, offer quality microbrewery beers made with premium ingredients for everyone's taste. La Bitte TB, embrace your true nature. I went to a grocery store in Ville-LaSalle a couple of days ago, and a big chain grocery store, and I made my way to the beverage section, and there you have it. La Bitte TB, we're there, and you can find them in all major grocery stores in Montreal. Also brought to you in part by Playground, over 600 machines. Have you been to Playground before? I have several times. And I had absolutely no idea that it would be what it was until I actually went in. And now I'm kind of hooked. You know, when you're looking for that place that is, okay, you know what? I got some time tonight. I want to go out. I want to have a good time. I want to do something a little bit different. Where can I pass my time? You can pass it at Playground. Poker tournaments, Playground, casino games, daily promotions, unmatched customer service. Why go anywhere else is the question. By the way, you should see some of their pricing in terms of meals. The bang for your buck's unbelievable. They're located just over the Mercier Bridge, only minutes from downtown Montreal. They are Playground. By the way, when you go on Saturday nights at around 10 p.m., they roll out the sweet table. Yeah, there is a sweet table for everyone who's there to indulge in. Pretty safe to say that it's a place I like to go to on Saturday nights. And also brought to you in part by Energy Transportation Group. If you're looking for a place to work, I have to tell you, Mike Cinquino, Sean Girard, David Grassi, the operation they run is absolutely unbelievable. Their staff has been there for the longest time, and that's the sign of a great company and a company who has people running it that know how to treat their employees because they never want to leave. And so they end up giving you 120% of their ability, and that's why they have the success that they have. They're, once again, a leading full-service logistics provider. They serve all of North America. They are driven to be different. It was, once again, another day of camp for the Montreal Canadiens. Tomorrow will be day 3. And then, day 1 was a day of physicals. And then day 2 was actually day 1 on the ice. And then day 3 was day 2 on the ice. And tomorrow will be day 4, which will be day 3 on the ice. And Sunday will be day 5, which will be day 4 on the ice. And that will be the red versus white intra-squad that they have. Speaking of which, Grant McCagg has told me that he's going to be making his way down to Montreal for that. He's going to cover it, and then he'll be in on Monday night with Shane Gaumont. And to tell you the truth, I'm going to be in Florida next week, and I'm going to be hosting the podcast on the Tuesday and the Thursday because the Canadiens are playing on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Friday nights. And I'm not sure if I'll be watching or not. I mean, I'm not going to come on if I didn't watch the game. But I'll come on the next day because the next day I'll have watched the game for sure by the time I go on. So I think Shane Gaumont will be in twice next week, Monday and Friday. Matt O'Hain will be in on Wednesday, and I'll be in on Tuesday and Thursday. I'm not normally in on Fridays, but I'm here tonight filling in for Matt O'Hain. Before we get to Marc-Andre Perreault, if we can bring in Agnello and Sammy Cavallaro right before we start here, and we talk Montreal Canadiens hockey with Mapper of TVA Sport. Hey, what's going on?
What's going on, Tony?
Long time no see. Listen to me and listen to me carefully.
Yep.
When we started this whole operation and you approached me, I said, look, I'm all in. but I need Fridays off. And you said, why? I said, because I've reached the point where it's quality of life for me. I don't mind giving you 150% of myself Monday to Thursday, but on Fridays, I want to be off. Is that the way the conversation went down? Yes or no?
That's exactly the way it went down.
Fantastic. At that point, you said, well, who can we bring in on Fridays? And I said, well, I used to work with this guy, Matt O'Han. And you know what? We had reached out to him. He reached out to us. There was a little bit of going back and forth, this, that, whatever. He wanted to get back in the game. We were happy to have him. So that's the deal. He does Fridays. So I went through my agenda today. I've worked more Fridays than him.
So what does that tell you?
It tells me that I'm getting the short end of the stick here. Well, what's going on here exactly?
Or you might have maybe met the wrong guy.
You told me that I had a great life because I worked Monday to Thursday. I'm realizing that the guy who's got the great life is Matt O'Han. Yeah, this guy truly lives the way I dream.
Just knowing me, Sammy, Mapper, already have a great life.
Without further ado, okay, have a great night. Let's bring in, from TVA Sport, Marc-Andre Perreault. Whoa!
Well, he's not wrong.
Yeah, what's going on with you?
Life is good. Just got back from the Olympics against Drummondville.
Oh, yeah? You like going to watch games in the queue?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love it. I have friends in the Olympics organization. Great rink, the Slush Puppy rink. Great team, just a great organization. So
now you put a slush in my head. Like, there's nothing better than like
my son,
all that sugar and like those 8,000 calories. That's just yeah.
But it's like pure joy in.
What's your favorite flavor?
It's like all mixed.
Oh, everything mixed, like the rainbow thing type of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's officially it's for my son, but
yeah. So I got to tell you, I like them all. I know the blue is very popular.
Yeah.
But some nights I'm in the mood for the red. And some nights I'm in the mood for, you know which one I really like? Orange.
Oh.
Yeah. I really like orange slush puppies. And I really like orange Mr. Freeze.
It's the best thing about slush. You can cheat on a color and then you come back and it's all good.
The good thing about it is the second it runs out of juice, you just add like a little bit of water and your glass is kind of like full again. It's never the same as it was at the beginning type of thing.
Exactly.
But anyway. All right. Okay. So who won the hockey game?
I was 1-0 Drummondville when we left because popcorn was empty. Same thing with slush. And, at one point it was 8:30 and, so not me, but my son. So.
Oh, really? Okay.
So
listen, thanks for doing this on a Friday night, man. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Good. I charge double, as you know.
Don't worry about it. It's not my money. It's Yellow's money. What do I care? It's not coming out of my pocket.
It's my pleasure. It's always fun to have a chat with you, my friend.
Okay, very, very good. Thank you. And I feel the same way. There's a lot to talk about at camp.
A lot.
I have to tell you, he's not here to speak up, but he'll be here on Monday. Graham McCagg kind of shocked me. I think it was yesterday.
Again?
He kind of shocked me. And by the way, I understand his reasoning. Okay. So what he was doing is I think he was saying something like, okay, the Canadiens are going to work on duos. Suzuki and Caulfield will be a duo. Doc and Monahan will be a duo.
Mm-hmm.
Newhook will likely play center at the very least until Dvorak comes back.
Exactly, yeah.
And Anderson and Slav will probably be a duo. So what he was doing is he was going through a whole process of elimination formula.
Yep.
And it led him to putting Brendan Gallagher first line right wing with Suzuki and Caulfield. When I saw Gallagher first line right wing with Suzuki and Caulfield, I said, no, it can't be, because Gallagher's career is actually, it's with all due respect, it's more of on a downward spiral instead of an upward swing, right? So, I mean, he did have first line duty with Danault and with Tatar several years ago. but he's no longer that player. He's no longer a 30-goal scorer. And I believe that for Gallagher to be more effective, less is more. The less he plays, I believe the better he'll play. I know he would disagree with that because he's a very proud competitor, and that's fine, and I understand that.
It's like Eric Bélanger was saying, I think it was last week, was telling me he was 35 years of age and he still thought he could be a first liner, but it's obvious that at some point you get caught by your age, and it's the same with Gallagher. And now, do you really? I mean, if you're about to put that type of player with Caulfield and Suzuki, I mean, Raphaël Harvey-Pinard is your man, right?
Yeah. Eric Bélanger, by the way, had a great, heartfelt conversation with Maxime Lapierre and Guillaume Latendresse of La Poche Bleue. These are the interviews that I love. The interviews that are a chat, that are heartfelt, that are deep. More so than these, I ask you a question, you give me an answer, and it's kind of like robotic and it's kind of like predetermined. Unfortunately, I find there's a lot of that in the media nowadays, and there's not enough of these heartfelt conversations. And I thought that Lapierre and Latendresse did a great job of having a heartfelt conversation. And the guy who did the best job out of all of them, really, was Eric Bélanger, the way he opened up. And he talked about coaching, and he thought he was going to love it, but he had lost his internal peace. And it was great. It was really, really good. Really good. I like Eric Bélanger a lot because he's a former NHLer, correct, who's as honest as they come.
Exactly.
Now, I want you to hear me out on this one. There's a lot of former NHLers. There's a lot of former athletes. They play the game. The game is never say anything bad about the home team. Never say anything bad about a GM. Never say anything bad about a TD. Never say anything bad about a sporting director. Never say anything bad about a coach. Never say anything bad about a player. And their career seems to advance because they get in the good books and this and that and whatever and all that stuff. And it happens in every city. And every now and then you come across a real one, like an Eric Bélanger, who says, you know what? I'm going to say what I think.
Exactly.
And if it offends somebody, it offends somebody. And, respectfully, I think I'm like that. And maybe that's why I really like that he's like that too, because there's not too many people that are like that. It takes balls to be like that because there's going to be some doors that are going to be closed in your face along the way. But if you're confident in your ability and you say, you know what, if they want to close the door on me, they can do whatever they want. I don't care. I mean, I won't starve. I'll find work somewhere. And I like Eric Bélanger.
He backs what he says. And, let's just for an example, he's really not sold into Juraj Slavkovsky, and he is not shy of saying it, even if it's not sexy in Montreal in the last year, to say that, Slafkovsky might not be what you guys think. So anyway, it's just an example. Now you look great.
Well, it's funny. It's funny you say that because Slavkovsky scored a goal today.
He did.
But at the end of the day, if you would ask members of the media, and at the end of the day, it's only Marty St. Louis' opinion that really counts. Well, his and Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon, I guess, but he didn't look overly comfortable. And Slavkovsky, you know what I find positive about Slavkovsky?
What?
Is that his weaknesses are so glaring that everyone knows what he has to work on.
That's a good point. To me, I just can't believe he did not go to Laval last year.
I agree with you.
To me,
You know what I think, Mapper? You know what I think?
What?
There was so much talk going into the draft, and there was so much controversy as to whether or not they were picking the right guy, because I think most Canadiens fans thought they were picking right. And I know, look, I could be wrong on this one. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to tell you that they didn't send them to Laval because they thought they would be questioned if they did, and it would make everyone look bad. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was part of the equation.
They did the same with KK.
Galchenyuk.
if I'm not that was I was about to say, if I'm not mistaken, Galchenyuk as well. It seems
All
like
three were rushed.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if I can say that Slavkovsky is rushed because he was so mature physically, but I just
but he wasn't developed hockey wise. Yes, he was mature physically, but because he was so mature physically, he was weakened from a hockey perspective, like Slavkovsky. Look, and I don't want anyone sending me hate mail. And by the way, if you do want to email me, Tony@thesickpodcast.com. It's always a pleasure to read your emails. I'm gonna. This is a disclaimer here, okay? I'm not throwing a 19-year-old under the bus. I'm gonna have all the patience in the world, but at the same time, we have to basically say what we see. Okay, Slavkovsky has a hard time handling the puck.
It's not throwing a kid under the bus to say that at 18 years of age, he should have maybe spent few months in the AHL. That's not throwing him under the bus. I mean, it's just normal that he has weaknesses. He could be playing for the Olympics or for Drummondville. I mean, he's that young.
Of course.
So now he's in the NHL, you know, all that ice surface size and everything. And now, is it too late to send him down? I think so. I think it should have been last year.
It's ever too late, man. You know what it is? I don't think it's ever too late.
What if it goes bad? What if it goes bad?
What if it goes bad here?
Well, I think it's not as bad as if it goes bad in the AHL.
Yeah, the only thing is that it could affect his confidence if you send him to Laval, because he might think, hold on a second, like a year ago they thought I was good enough for the National Hockey League. 1 year later, they think I'm only Laval ready, and I've worked on my game so much, but he's got a hard time handling the puck. His head is down a lot. Mm-hmm. He gets tagged. Last year, he was a little sluggish in his movements, I found. This year, he dropped about 10, 11 pounds, which I think will make him better.
Let's go with 15.
15,
14, 15, yeah. Good
for him.
You can see just by, looking at him. But his biggest strength, I think, it's his confidence. And anyone who talked to him last year, was so refreshing to hear that big smiling guy. He was so confident in himself. So it would be a disaster if he loses that confidence. So to me, I wouldn't take that chance, but it's just me, right?
Let's be honest here, okay? The kid went from playing where he was playing to the best hockey league in the world at 18 years of age. I mean, the guys that get drafted first overall that fit like a glove when they enter the National Hockey League, they're phenoms. Sidney Crosby, Nathan McKinnon, Austin Matthews, Connor McDavid, Alexander Ovechkin, guys that are drafted second overall. Tavares was drafted first, and Hedman was drafted second, and Evgeny Malkin was drafted second. I mean, we're talking about phenomenal players. Slafkovsky's not in that category.
He's not.
He's not in the category of guys that were just probably busts or not very good. He's not in the category of franchise players. He's somewhere in between to start his NHL career. He's going to need time.
But I still think he's going to be a very good player. I mean, to reach the great player thing, it's a big step. But I still think he's going to be very good. He's got all the assets, and he's got the confidence.
Look, I lost you there for a second. I lost you. Hold on a second. Oh, something here. Yeah. Okay, I lost you. All right, he's going to come back. And I was going to tell him, and I'll say this, and hopefully he's going to be back by the time I say it, that I know that this isn't always the case, because there's some guys that had great junior careers, and then they get to the National Hockey League, and they just weren't able to put it all together for a couple of reasons. Some,
I'm sorry.
Mentally. No, I was just saying that when a young player makes the National Hockey League, some of them, they can't put it all together. Like the success they had before the NHL just doesn't translate at the National Hockey League level.
Neil Yakupov.
Correct. Alexander Daigle. Some it doesn't, whether it's the mental game, whether it's just, you could be a dominant player in junior, but you know what? That was your ceiling. You don't have more than that. But having said all that, I don't believe that players can have career years and do exceptional things, and it's kind of like fluke or it's a one-off, and they can't, like what Slavkovsky was able to accomplish. And you go back and you watch behind the scenes on Habs television or wherever it was, where Nick Brobrov is talking to the rest of the scouts, and he's trying to tell them what Slafkovsky accomplished at the World Championships and at the Olympics at his age, compared to other players who were that age and played on that stage over the history of time. You can't do that by fluke. You can say,
of course,
and I think this is some of it. He was so physically mature that he was dominant for a period of time. And I don't think he'll ever be that dominant in the National Hockey League. But I believe that Juraj Slavkovsky will score 30 goals in the National Hockey League.
30 goals is a lot. But it's another example, it shows how big of a step it is.
Brendan Gallagher scored 30, Juraj Slavkovsky will score 32.
I mean, you know what? Let's put a 12-pack of Betatibi on that.
Well, that's going to do you. That's going to do you a lot of good. You're supposed to pick up this 12-pack 6 months ago.
Let's go with 24 then.
Let's go with 24.
Okay, so in the next 5 years.
In the next 5 years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Sounds fair.
I'll take that.
Okay, let's go. Lots of witnesses. But, there's the steps are so big between every level. Look,
19, 20, 21, 22. As a 23-year-old, okay, maybe as a 24-year-old. But I took the bet already, so I would have been more comfortable with. I would have been more comfortable with 6 years. But I'll take 5.
Let's go with 6.
We'll go with 6.
Go with 6
at 24. Perfect.
Okay. But yeah, so every time I hear, he was dominant, and I know it's not the same because Slavkovsky was playing against the men, but I keep on thinking about Corey Locke. He was the best player in the country. He was scoring like hundreds and hundreds.
But Corey Locke was 5'8". This guy's Jack the Giant Killer.
I know
this
it's
guy's like
not
6'4.5".
I know, but just to tell you how big of a step it is, and because when you were saying, I don't think he's going to be as dominant as he was in the NHL. I mean, it's not even close to compare. So we'll see. We'll see. But now I'm thirsty.
Yeah, go ahead. Take a sip. By the way, I wrote it down, and I think we're going to put it as a poll. I think we're going to put it as a poll.
Okay.
So Agnello and Sammy at Master Control, if you can, in the next 6 seasons, will Juraj Slafkovsky have a 30-goal season? Tony Marinaro says yes. Marc-Andre Perreault says no. We can put it out there, and we'll ask people what they think. And then maybe we'll have already an idea by the end of the show where people are going. But I'm going to go with that. Yeah, in the next 6 seasons, Juraj Slavkovsky will have a 30-goal season.
I hope I'm wrong. Because the kid, he deserves it, and I would be more than happy.
Okay, so don't forget, and I know that one doesn't mean anything compared to the other, okay? But don't forget that 1, 2, 3, in his 3.5 season, Alex Galchenyuk scored 30.
Yeah, but I knew you would, bring something like that up. Do you remember how he scored this? I mean, I think he scored like 10 in the last 15 games that meant nothing. So
they count, my friend. They count.
I know. I mean, no one can take these 30 goals away from Galchenyuk. But I mean, let's hope when Slafkovsky will score 30 goals, it's going to be in another, it's not going to be in a losing season. But it's funny because I talked with your friend Giselle this year about Galchenyuk because, Jared Davidson scored 3 goals
yesterday.
Newhook
Jared Davidson
scored.
scored 3 goals. Yeah. Hey, Newhook looked good. Did you see him flying through the neutral zone?
He's very fast. Caulfield scored 2, which is very good. But then I was like, just keep in mind, it's fun to get excited, but it's so early because I remember that year, Galchenyuk scored 30 goals. He had training camp. He was playing with Lars Eller and Alexander Semin.
Yeah.
And White against Red.
We're over 70 votes already. By the way, we're over 70. We just did this a minute ago. Yeah.
What's the score so far?
I'm going to bring it up right now. It's yes 65, no 35.
Okay. I like that. But anyways, so there's that game, White against Red, and that line, Galchenyuk, he had 2 goals, 1 assist. Eller had 1 goal and 3 assists. Semin had 2 assists. So and everybody was like, okay, that's a line. We're gonna have fun watching this line. By mid-December, Alexander Semin was not even playing with Montreal anymore. So just keep in mind that it's early. It's fun to see guys scoring goal, but let's not get too excited at this point.
Okay, so I'll tell you why I chose him to score 30. Okay,
tell me why.
All right, so take a look at who has scored 30 goals for the Montreal Canadiens in the last 10 years. Okay, Max Pacioretty, Brendan Gallagher, Alex Galchenyuk,
Caulfield.
Caulfield. No, well, he hasn't hit 30 yet. Okay,
but
no,
you're right. He did not.
But he had 48 goals since Marty St. Louis took over and all that stuff. And okay, they're players that played on the power play.
Yep.
And I don't know if Slavkovsky is going to play first unit power play, but he's going to play on the power play for the Montreal Canadiens in the next 6 years. Because take a look at what they have in the prospect pool at the forward position. They have Slavkovsky, and they have. So at the National Hockey League level, they have Suzuki, they have Caulfield, they have Newhook, they have Kirby Dach.
Who do you take? Just by the way, who do you take, Dach or Slafkovsky, if you have a choice? If you have the choice, let's say you're at the draft and you have the choice between these two. Who do you take?
You would take Dach because he's a centerman.
That's the only reason.
Well, center carries a lot more value than a winger.
Yeah, well, yes, but yeah, I was just curious. I think it's a fair question.
So now you take a look at Logan Mailloux, Lane Hudson on the back end, maybe Gooley. I believe that Slafkovsky will play on an offensive team for an offensive coach with offensive players, and he's going to be on one of the 2 power play units.
In front of the net, probably?
Well, because they don't have anyone else with his size besides Dach that can park himself there.
Josh Anderson? But
yeah, I don't know about Josh Anderson.
Me neither, but he's got the potential to be the guy you're like, whoa, every game, but it's not the case. But
we've been hearing that for a few years.
Yeah, but I
like him. He's a good player.
Yeah, he is very good, very good. I just don't think he can be 82 games the way he plays, because you're not Brendan Gallagher, so there's not a lot of Brendan Gallagher, I should say. So, but the type of hockey he's playing, I guess it's just normal. But
120 votes so far. Will Slavkovsky have a 30-goal season the next 6 seasons? 69% yes, 31%.
Oh, you're all right. Okay. So you got the crowd with you.
Well, you have to understand one thing too. Okay, those who are on YouTube Live right now, Facebook Live, Twitter Live, those who are watching our show, they're diehard Montreal Canadiens fans. They're diehard Montreal Canadiens fans. Yeah. They want their players to do well. They take it personally. If I would have said that he'll score 40 goals in the next 6 seasons, I'd probably still be leading this poll. Do you understand what I'm trying to get at?
Yeah.
Right. So let's.
Which is a good thing. I mean, in my point of view, I think it's going to be more like a 25-40, 25 goals, 40 assists. That's his potential. But,
look, you see him as a guy who's going to pick up more assists than goals.
Yeah.
I think he could end up being a guy who's going to end up picking up more goals than assists.
Interesting.
Look, you usually end up getting more assists than goals, but you understand what I'm trying to say, right? Yeah. I think that he'll be. I don't know about his ability to pass the puck. But
I think with his size, he's gonna have to go get the puck. He's gonna have that first shot, and I don't know. We'll see. He is.
He was really good at camp. Speaking of a big player, big, strong, reach skater, he's a defenseman, Logan Mailloux.
He's better than his first game at the rookie camp, that's for sure.
But you know what? That was a bad game. He got it out of his system. They played against a very good team. He was better the second game. His best game came in the third game. And at camp, 2 goals. This guy was really good.
But again, he's not going to play in Montreal to start the season.
I don't think so either. But you know what? This guy goes out there and...
No. Tony, he hasn't played 100 games in the last 3 years.
No, I don't think he will. I wouldn't bet on it. But it's encouraging.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure encouraging. But, I think it would not... Who am I to say that? But I don't think it would be a good decision to, put him NHL right away. Go play some games, go get some big minutes. There's no rush. Like there was no rush with Slavkovsky last year. Like there was no rush with KK. There's no rush. You're not a contender who needs a Connor Bedard or a Connor McDavid. It's not that. So just get some minutes.
All right. So Agnello and Sammy at Master Control letting me know, of course, that the poll is up and that you can vote directly on YouTube Live. And I think we're going to be able to put it up on Twitter as well. And we should get a lot of action, a lot of engagement there. So we'll keep you posted as we go along. And maybe Agnello and Sammy, it's already on Twitter. Maybe we can keep it up there. Who knows, for maybe 24 hours at least, maybe even a little bit more. But anyway, let's move on. So we started this whole thing with Brendan Gallagher, and I said that Grant McCagg played the whole process of elimination thing. And because of that, he saw Gallagher maybe on a first line. Well, Gallagher today was with Owen Beck and Raphael Harvey-Pinard.
Yeah.
So Raphael Harvey-Pinard at left wing, Gallagher at right wing, and Owen Beck in between them. Owen Beck in between them, if he makes the team, it's either him or Evans. You would think it could be Elias Anderson. But if these lines are somewhat indicative of where Marty St. Louis sees them, and they're probably not, by the way, because they have Heineman on the first line, they have Roy on the second, so they might be, they might not. But if they're indicative of what St. Louis is thinking, are Raphael Harvey-Pinard and Brendan Gallagher, two kind of carbon copy players, going to play together? And if so, does this indicate that they're going to be on the fourth line?
That's a possibility. But, I mean, who do you put on the first line with Suzuki and Caulfield?
Who do you put?
Kirby Dach for me. He was so good with them.
It's funny you say this because I used to get mad at JC last year when he used to say it, because JC used to say he's not a centerman. Okay,
I'm not saying he's not a centerman. But...
So correct. So I want to say this. I believe he has what it takes to be a centerman, but I think he's so much better than anyone else on right wing on that line that the drop off between him and another right winger is a lot more than the drop-off would be if you don't have him at center and you put a Monahan or a Newhook at center.
He fits so perfectly with them. And we saw Josh Anderson few games, I think, with them, and it was just not working.
George Larac told me, when was it, last night? And even earlier today when I dropped by BPM Sport, George Larac sees Anderson there full-time. And I said to George, I don't see it. I understand why you want him there because he's big, he's strong, he can open up some room for two smaller players. And should something happen, he won't shy away. He'll defend them. I get all that. But with Anderson, you got something by putting him there, but you lose out on something else. I don't think Anderson has the hockey IQ to play with Suzuki and Caulfield. I'm not so sure. Like he's got tools for sure, and he's got a skill set. He's more of a north-south player. Those guys are more east-west players, but I don't think they see the game or think the game at the same level. So it can cause their game to be off a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised. Two things. One, Anderson's their line mate on the road where you don't have the last line change and the games get a little bit rougher.
No, Tony,
Or two, that we're going to see
that.
everybody with those guys this year.
You can't play that game that, on the road it's one guy, at home it's your first line. You have to be serious. I mean, it's your first line.
Yeah,
like,
but do they have with the exception of Doc, do they have a first line right winger for that line?
Well, again, and I got an argument with Maxime Lapierre because he was saying, Harvey Pinard on the first line and Harvey Pinard, and I was like,
I wouldn't do that. I
wouldn't, but he's, you have to be honest with the guy and you have to recognize that, how hard he has worked. And to me, he's an option. You have to put him at least in the option list. So that's an option.
I love Harvey Pinard, and he played great last year, but he is who he is. Like, let's not be fooled by thinking that this guy is.
I get it.
And some are going to say that Burroughs played with the Sedins, and you don't necessarily have to be a great player or have a great skill set. I get that too, but I think we'd be doing Raphael Harvey Pinard a big disservice by putting him on that first line with the pressure that comes with the pressure that comes with it right away.
Stop it. Stop it, Tony. You're not. I mean, you're doing him a favor. It's not whatever you call it in English. Like, how did you say that? It's
a favor.
Yeah, like obviously it would be a favor. But okay, so let's say you have the choice between Josh Anderson and Raphael Harvey Pinard from what you have seen last year, because both played with them.
From what I saw last year, it's Raphael Harvey Pinard, but I don't think Raphael Harvey Pinard will be able to replicate what he did a year ago.
Well, okay, so he's gonna have to.
They were one of the worst teams in the league last year.
Yeah,
they did some catching from behind. The games didn't mean all that much. They were kind of loosey goosey.
Oh, okay. So now the Galchenyuk 30 goals thing. Now it's.
I'd love for him to be able to prove me wrong.
But like 10 minutes ago, you said that Galchenyuk.
No, I stick by what I said. At the end of a goal's a goal. Like, I give him, he scored the goals. Like, I'm not going to take the goals away from him.
Okay.
I'm just telling you, I don't think he's going to be able to. And Galchenyuk never replicated what he did here when he scored 30 goals.
Okay.
I don't think Raphael Harvey Pinard this season is going to score at the pace that he did a year ago.
Probably not. But just to be clear, my question was more, who do you choose between Anderson and Harvey Pinard, if that's the question?
Harvey Pinard at home and Anderson on the road, if I had to. You're going to tell me I can't split them. I get it.
No, I just don't think it's serious.
I don't think they have anyone who's consistent enough to be on that line day in, day out without breaking it up, unless his name is Kirby Dach. But if Jeff Gorton and Kent Hughes and Marty St. Louis see Kirby Dach as a centerman, who could be a centerman that can insulate and support Nick Suzuki, who could possibly have the potential to supplant Nick Suzuki and maybe end up being the Montreal Canadiens' number one centerman in the next couple of years, maybe. And if he's not, he'll be number two, and there's no problem.
Well,
if they really see him as a centerman, we can forget this whole him on the wing talk.
I mean,
you have a lot of centermen, but Dvorak's going to be traded within a year.
Okay,
and Monahan will be traded before the deadline. So do you really have a lot of centermen?
Well, you have, Cumming, you have Owen Beck, you have Newhook.
Owen Beck doesn't have offense to his game.
No, but
if he wins a role on this team, it's going to be to replace Jake Evans. He'll be a fourth liner.
No, he's going to be a
third line.
Okay, we agree on that. So you have Suzuki, Where do you put
Yeah.
New Hook? Like,
Okay.
maybe, obviously it's like, we're thinking ahead, but I'm just
If
saying that
Suzuki's your first line centerman, Newhook cannot be your second.
I get it, but there was such a big difference
Not
to
on a
me
cup contender.
between Kirby Dach playing wing with Caulfield and Suzuki and
He
Kirby
was
Dach.
unbelievable. He was at home. He was at home on that line.
But he was unbelievable. So
He was unbelievable.
So now, what are you gonna do? So it's a good question. But to me, it's just because you want him to be a centerman so bad, you're gonna, because let's say these three guys, they improve and they grow as expected. That's a pretty good first line for a lot of years. But the fact that you want Kirby Dach to be a centerman so bad, you're gonna break that. I don't know.
181 votes so far, 71% see Slavkovsky having a 30-goal season in the first 6 years, and 29% say no.
I allowed you to go with 6 years, so I think, to be fair, it should be 30 bottles for me and 24 for you.
I'll take that. No problem.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, the negotiating deals is never a problem with me.
I love it.
Okay. Hold on a second, because people are asking for this Brutes. Give myself a little bit of a wake-up call here.
Oh.
Okay.
Is it vodka?
I'm ready to go. It's water, vodka.
Okay.
If it was vodka, you think I would be spraying it all over myself? I'd be drinking it.
Rich people, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah. If somebody wants to send over a bottle of vodka, by the way, by all means, you can do so. I accept gifts, by the way, and cash, no matter. Yeah. If you appreciate the show, if there's someone who's a little bit older in age right now and doesn't have anyone to leave anything to in terms of their will and final testimony, should they have a condo in Florida and they find that I brought joy to their life when I was on the radio before, on TV now, and with the podcast, if they want to leave me in their final will and testament, I'd be very grateful. Thank you.
Would you split with me, like 50-50?
Who are you? When it comes to this stuff, nobody sees and looks anybody in the face. This is how arguments happen in the family.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think people just saw your real nature.
No, but it all depends here. I'm asking for it. You didn't ask for it. The second I asked for it, now you want in. Like, you want me to split a condo with you. What am I supposed to do? If I inherit a 2-bedroom condo, you're going to get one room, I'm going to get the other? Is that the way? This is what we're going to do. If I inherit the condo, I'll give you 5% of the value.
I'm hurt. Okay.
Don't worry. I would invite you to my condo for free anytime you wanted to.
Okay.
Okay. Emil Heineman.
Interesting.
Do you read anything into this?
It's not just like flip a coin. Oh, it's Heineman, we're gonna put him there. There's reasons why they wanted to see him there, and I have to say, last year I was kind of disappointed in him, and I'm not saying to throw him under the bus, but it's more that I expected more from him, which is a good thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think he improved a lot in the last year, and they want to see what he can do with high skilled players.
Yeah.
He's not gonna start the season on the first line. It's not gonna happen, but they did not just flip a coin and put him there. Same with Joshua Roy, by the way. I
think it's an audition for later. This is what I think it is for him and for Roy.
And I kind of like the fit, but Joshua Roy, I've been told this summer that there was no more Pezzetta and Jake Evans with Joshua Roy, and I'm just saying two names. Like, they wanted to see him with NHL players.
That sounds good to me. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. By the way,
you know what? So far, that's the case, and he's doing pretty good.
We talked about this guy, that guy, this guy, and that guy. You know who I've wanted for who I really want to see on that number one line? I'm going to be in the minority here.
Who?
Well, and I think Hughes and Gordon want to see the same player that I want to see. They want to see Sean Monahan there, because if Sean Monahan is going to get dealt, you're going to want him to rack up points.
Oh, he's going to have.
What are they doing right now? They're doing asset management. They're trading players and acquiring draft picks.
Hold on a second. He's going to have power play minutes. That's for sure. But if you put Kirby Dach centerman, you want him to play with Monahan, to take some face off, and because Monahan's a veteran and he understands. Well, he knows the game more, but he's going to have his minutes on the power play, and he's gonna, that's the plan. Obviously, with his contract, 1 year. I mean, if he can, have pretty much the same pace he was having last year, can you imagine what he's gonna cost?
So we're gonna get to one or two more points, and then I think we're going to call it a night on this Friday night.
Okay.
One is, there was a beautiful picture of Florian and Arbor Jacki. I don't know if you had a chance to see it.
I did not see it.
But their mom actually took to Twitter and said, dreams really do come true. Thank you to Montreal Canadiens for this picture. It's fantastic.
Crazy story.
That's number one. Number two, Dr. Mulder. I saw this one coming because this year the Canadiens are going to honor the 93 team that won the Cup 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I believe it's going to be somewhere in the 4th, 7th, 8th, 9th of November. I don't know when it was. It's going to be in the first week or two of November, okay? And on that night that they're going to be honoring the 93 team, they're also going to pay tribute to Dr. Mulder, who after 60 years as team physician is stepping down.
Isn't it crazy?
60 years as team physician. I don't know if I'm going to be able to live to age 60. He was 60 years with the Montreal Canadiens. It's pretty crazy. Yeah. So congratulations to Dr. Mulder on truly a fantastic career, obviously. Amazing. Yeah. And the other bit of news is it's official. We talked about this one. We saw it coming from a mile away, but today it was made official. Michael Andlauer is the new owner of the Ottawa Senators. And I don't know if you had a chance to see his quote about his kids.
I did not.
It's one of the funniest things I've heard in a long time.
Okay.
He thanked his kids for allowing him to spend their inheritance to pursue his passion. It was amazing. It was amazing. It was funny.
It's funny, but the way the sports team are increasing in value, I mean, I think they'll be fine to have their 3 meals a day.
Yeah, and the former part owner of the Montreal Canadiens says, my goal is to bring a Stanley Cup to Ottawa. And I wonder if this will spark a little bit of a rivalry between Montreal and Ottawa, who had one once upon a time because they had faced each other in the playoffs on a couple of occasions in the last 10 years or so. But Michael Andlauer is such a gentleman that you'd be hard to think that there's going to be a rivalry between him and Jeff Molson. But
he talked about Ottawa and Gatineau, which is
I saw that pretty
good, because it's such a shame that the way the French fans in the Gatineau region have been treated in the last. Well, I mean, they have just never been treated by the Ottawa Senators.
They have felt neglected.
I mean, and trust me, I mean,
it's exactly the way West Islanders feel about CF Montreal. Like they feel like they've been totally alienated, and CF Montreal has never gone to show them, much love.
Yeah, but now what it does is that pretty much everyone in the Gatineau region is cheering for Montreal. So that's
wow.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing, and it is going to be an amazing rivalry. And who knows Pierre Dorion's future in Ottawa? There's been a lot of rumblings, and usually where there's smoke, there's fire. DJ Smith as well, and will Patrick Roy one day be the head coach of the Ottawa Senators? And you're starting to think for Patrick that Ottawa might be the only place. Like you're starting to think that it could be that, and I think Patrick maybe has. After winning the Memorial, I think Patrick probably has another year left to get himself in a job in the National Hockey League. And if it doesn't happen in the next year and a half, I don't think it'll happen if it doesn't. So
yeah, we'll see. But DJ Smith is on sur un siège éjectable. How do you say that?
Yeah, he's on an ejectable chair.
Yeah,
he's on the hot seat.
Hot seat, yeah.
He's on the hot seat.
He needs to win. Like first 10, 15 games of the season will be crucial for him.
Yeah. It's, there's a lot of people watching right now that think that you're on the hot seat too. And it's you. It's you that's hot on the seat.
Oh, say it again.
Yeah, you're very popular with the female clientele that watches the Sick podcast.
Hopefully
Agnello,
with the male as well. I mean,
Yeah, Agnello and I and Sammy and we went for supper earlier this evening. As a matter of fact,
did you?
Yeah, and your name came up, and Agnello said we're talking about all the collaborators, and Agnello said Marc-Andre is very, very popular with the females.
Oh, I'll take it.
Yeah. We're thinking of having we were talking about implementing different segments into the show and stuff like that. And your name came up, and we're thinking of doing something kind of like Tinder related segment.
I'll swipe you. I don't know, what is it when you want the person? Is it
You're
left?
supposed to swipe?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never been on the app.
I would swipe you left.
If my wife leaves me one day, never say never. Hey. Thanks for being a good sport, and thanks for taking the time out of a Friday night, because Friday nights are meant to relax. So with that said, I'm going to say goodbye to you, and in about 2 minutes, I'm going to be in the hot tub.
Cheers, my friend. Show me a picture.
Soon. All right, ciao. All right, we'll talk to you soon. There you have it. Marc-Andre Perreault. And once again, we're going to get back to the poll question. Before we do, Marinaro reminding you that if you like the Sick podcast tonight, like it, share it with your friends. Comment Sick, S-I-C-K, S-I-C-K, S-I-C-K. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple. It's very, very important for us that you do. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, comment Sick and hit the like button. Once again, the poll question is up on YouTube and it's up on Twitter as well. In the next 6 seasons, will Juraj Slavkovsky have a 30-goal season? We are 229 votes in after 27 minutes on YouTube. I said yes. Marc-Andre Perreault said no. 72% of you say yes. Only 28% of you say no. And there you have it. All right. Okay. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you have a great rest of the night. I hope you have a great weekend. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. I'll be in Florida. And this is why I love the podcast world, and I love what I'm doing right now with my life. It gives me flexibility. If I was hosting a 3-hour radio show, I'm not so sure that during the golf tournament and Canadiens camp and the intra-squad that I can go to Portugal for 3 weeks, come back for 1 week, and then leave for Florida for another week, and then maybe go to Israel, which I'm planning to in the Christmas season if everything goes well, and then going back to Portugal probably sometime in the month of May. And then, so it's a beautiful thing, but I'll be here. Shane Gaumont will be in on Monday. I'll be in on Tuesday. Matt O'Hain will be in on Wednesday. I'll be back on Thursday, and Shane Gaumont will be back again next Friday. And then I'm back, and I won't take vacation for a while. At least I don't think so. I can't do it without all of you. This podcast is where it is because of you, my Sick Army, my Sick community. For Agnello and Sammy at Master Control, they're Cavallaro. I'm Marinaro.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. LaVie.tv, embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.